Well, welcome in once again, everybody, to another great edition, very special show today of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, and we've got a different kind of a show today. We've got a special announcement towards the end of the show that you want to make sure you hang out for. And I keep mentioning, and we appreciate it when you go to the various platforms where you can see our show, like yournews.com and Facebook and Google and YouTube. Please subscribe. Please give us a like. Please give us any good comments that you would like. Perhaps somebody you'd like to see on the show, get interviewed, or whatever. We're here to do what you guys would like us to do. Anyway, happy day. Hope you're out playing golf. The weather here in Las Vegas is getting absolutely fantastic. It's warming up, and I'm a hot weather guy, so I just absolutely love it. Golf courses are still jam-packed, so everybody's getting out there and having a great time. They're actually planning for summer vacations, a lot of people, to go to various golf resorts and have a great time. But let me mention on the show today, we're going to be, we have a special guest in studio that I'm going to introduce in just a moment. And as I say, towards the end of the show, we've got a very exciting announcement about him. And it's an interesting story about how we met. So without further ado, let me bring up my friend, Dr. Brian Carr. And he is a doctor. And can you check my pulse before we get
sure.
But anyway, nice to have you on the show.
Thanks for having me.
Nice to have you on the show. Dr. Carr is a board-certified orthopedic surgeon and robotic-assisted surgery specialist. So, we got to get into that and talk a little bit about that. Dr. Carr specializes in sports medicine and trauma, as well as hip and knee replacement. Does that sound familiar to a lot of you out there that are golfers, hip and knee replacement? So we're going to be talking about that. He received his Bachelor of Science in Biology and Chemistry from Grand Canyon University, which, I have known a number of people that have gone to Grand Canyon in Arizona. Mm-hmm. I don't know where you went, but they loved it.
That's a great school. When I went there were 3,300 students.
Wow, really?
Very, very small, good access to the professors, and now it's grown substantially. It was in Phoenix where I went.
Yeah.
And I went there. I started at Arizona State University, but I transferred to Grand Canyon because at the time they were advertising 100% placement of their pre-medical students into medical school.
Wow.
And that's a big claim.
That's a real big claim.
And that was true for my class as well. The caveat is there were 7 of us that were pre-med. And so,
Yeah, that's interesting. Dr. Carr earned his medical degree from Uniform Services University, and that is in Bethesda, Maryland. We're going to talk about that a little bit too. After completing his residency, Brian spent 18 years in the Army, including a deployment to Iraq, where he was recognized for his service in the treatment of wounded service members. So thank you very much, Doc, for your services. And I want to get into that. I want to kick this off and just ask you, first off, how did you get interested, number one, in medicine, and then and Dr. Carr is obviously a golfer as well. So how did you get interested in medicine first, and then what got you into golf?
Medicine, it was a long road to find my interest in medicine, but ultimately I was searching for a major, and at the same time I took an EMT course where they certify you, and I thought, maybe firefighter or and at the same time, I took a biology course, and both courses had great professors, and I really enjoyed it. I did well in it, and a handful of people that know me well said, you ought to consider, pre-med. And so I said, maybe so. And I tossed the idea around, and a few of them said, oh, you'd be great. You should do that. And then kind of the slow and steady, the rest is history.
Right. Yeah.
And I went to the military school. Obviously, I'm a third generation military person. My grandfather was Navy. My father was Air Force. I was in the Army. Or maybe fourth generation. My great grandfather was in the Army.
Wow.
And then I have other family members in law enforcement, even here in town.
What did you end up having as your rank when you left the service?
Lieutenant Colonel.
Okay, that's pretty big. That's pretty big time. All right, what got you into golf? Who got you into golf? What piqued your interest to get into golf?
My dad, growing up, has played golf his whole life. He's a scratch golfer now, and we grew up playing together. He taught me. I've only had a handful of real lessons outside of my dad playing with me. My first job was at a golf course picking up range balls, and it didn't pay well, but I got access to free rounds of golf.
Yeah,
so
there you go.
In the summers in high school, it was routine to help with the golf clinics with the kids in the morning, and then play 36 holes in the afternoon.
That's pretty good, and that's a pretty common story with a lot of young guys, because I did the same darn thing. I mentioned that you're an orthopedic surgeon. First of all, explain to all of our viewers, Doc, what does orthopedics involve, and why did you choose that as your specialty?
Well, in medical school, I had a lot of interests. I really enjoyed a lot of the fields that we studied, but one thing that you have to do is pick, are you more procedural oriented, or are you clinically oriented? And I figured between the two, I was more procedural, and then you have to choose between like general surgery and urology or OBGYN or something like that. And orthopedics, I thought the surgeries, you have to pick this before you're even in it. And so I guessed that I would enjoy the orthopedic procedures the most out of those. And I think it was the right choice. And so now for orthopedics, for those of you who don't know, it generally means we treat bone and joint disorders. If you need spine surgery, then that's extra training to go into spine surgery. But I still see patients regularly with spine problems, but I can treat them, non-operatively until they need something. Then I know who to ask or who to help. Otherwise, shoulders, hips, knees, elbows, ankles, fractures, and so
a lot of the stuff that golfers get, and we're gonna get into that. I mentioned you spent a fair amount of time in the military. First, why were you there so long, and really, what was your reasoning behind it, Doc?
Well, that starts from when I applied to the military medical school, and like I said, many of my family members were in the military, and I'm pretty patriotic. And at the time when I was applying, I thought to be able to take care of our soldiers, wounded soldiers overseas in a combat zone, I thought that would be probably the greatest thing you could do with medicine. And that was my favorite part of being in, is when I got to go overseas and help folks out. I'm
sure you've got some great, memorable stories about helping these guys over in Iraq.
Yeah, there's, it's interesting. What we see here and on the news, it's very hard to understand what's really going on over there. But our job overseas in particular it was myself and a general surgeon. He's in San Antonio now. When we were overseas, our primary mission was just to be available medically, to cover convoys when they got hit by the improvised explosive devices or whatever in the longest convoy out of Iraq. And so I was there during the transition of Operation Iraqi Freedom to Operation Enduring Freedom.
Wow.
And so we were moving soldiers out, and so they wanted to cover, my job was to cover one area for the orthopedic injuries. And another interesting thing about that is that when you're overseas in military medicine, a lot of the surgeons will cross-cover each other. Like, for example, our I trained with the general surgeon on how to do to get in the belly and stop the bleeding, which is a general surgery focus, and I taught him how to place the external fixators if needed. That's where you have to stabilize the bones with pins from the outside to stabilize them so that they can move to the next level of care.
Yeah, so you've got to wear a lot of hats when you're doing what you did. Yeah, that's very interesting, and we're going to get into that a little bit more. All right, I'll tell you what, we're going to step away. We're going to take a short break, and when we come back, we're going to have a lot more with our special guest, Dr. Brian Carr. Stay with us. We're back with you right after this.
Golfers at every level strive to hit the ball like a tour player, setting the club perfectly at the top, storing all the energy as they unwind and their club head approaches the ball, striking it flush at impact and staring it down as it explodes off the club towards the target. Introducing Precision Impact. Precision Impact is the single tool that will accelerate that process and get anybody striking the ball with complete command. Unlike any other product, Precision Impact is designed to keep the hands quiet and prevent the fatal flipping or scooping of the hands. This amazing product will actually reprogram your brain to keep your hands in the perfect textbook position. Precision Impact will soon have you hitting the most crisp, consistent shots of your life. As you start your backswing, you should hear several clicks as your wrist folds properly for a perfect set at the top of your swing. From there, allow your arms to fall as you aggressively rotate through the ball, knowing your Precision Impact will keep your hands and club head in the ideal position. Order now at PrecisionImpactGolf.com and never look back.
Hey golfers, I've been a golf talk show host for a long time, and I've been playing golf even longer. Being in golf media, I've had the chance to play every ball ever made. I've tried them all. Well, my search is finally over because I found the best ball I have ever played with. And more golfers are finding the same thing. I started playing with the Elixir golf ball made by Encore Golf. Encore Golf has revolutionized both their golf balls, the Elixir or the Avant 55, or the brand new Vero X1, to where the performance of either will simply blow you away. It did me. If you're looking for better performance and durability with your ball, Encore Golf has it. Don't just take my word for it. Check them out at EncoreGolf.com and you'll become convinced, as I am, the first time you tee it up with Encore. It's the best performing ball for the price. Go to EncoreGolf.com and see for yourself. Your scorers will love you for it. That's ONCORE Golf.com. All right, welcome back in, everybody, to the continuation of the 19th Hole podcast for golfers. We've got a special guest, Dr. Brian Carr, who's not only a golfer, he's an orthopedic surgeon, he's a great family guy, all-around good guy, having an interesting conversation about a lot of the ailments and things that happens not only to golfers, but to other people, and we're going to get into that a little bit. Let me start off, as long as I'm on that, and ask you, you see a number of golfers that need what I call repair work. What's the most common type of injury with golfers that you deal with?
Probably either back injuries, spine injuries from kind of overdoing it, swinging and practicing a lot, overuse injuries,
or
shoulder
bad swing, or bad swings.
bad mechanics. I would say a lot of if it's an injury due to golf, it's usually shoulder. It's usually, and right-handers, it's their left shoulder, and left-handers, it's their right shoulder. And there's a lot of common things like shoulder impingement or shoulder arthritis or rotator cuff tears that exist in the population. They just get accentuated in a golf swing.
And you brought something up just now. We were just talking about arthritis. What is really arthritis, and what's the cause of it? And can you do anything to stop the damn thing from happening?
That's a good question. So arthritis really just, by definition, means inflammation in the joint. And the causes of inflammation in the joints are they're innumerable. There's multifactorial. There's genetic components to it. If you have a previous injury where you damage the bones or the cartilage, it just doesn't. Sometimes it just leads to long-term kind of wear. If you are doing a lot of walking, running, a lot of activity, impact activity in particular, it wears out. The cartilage is like that we walk on is like the tread on our tires,
right?
And it wears out over time. And everyone's a little bit different. Some people wear out faster than others. If you have a hefty physique, you weigh a lot. I mean, it puts a lot more force, not just the weight, but with momentum and inertia, it's like 5 times the weight.
Wow.
And so. Wow. One of the early things you can do to help your knees from wearing out fast is lose some weight. And it's tough to do that. So lots of causes, genetic components. There's rheumatoid arthritis and several types of that, and there's inflammatory arthritis. And basically what happens is the joint surface, the cartilage wears out. It starts to cause inflammatory changes, and the inflammation hurts. And then
it does.
And then when it gets to a point where you just can't do what you need to do in life, we address it, and sometimes that's injections, like gel injections,
right.
Or when it gets bad enough, we remove the bad bone and cartilage and we replace it with metal and plastic.
Okay, all right. And you know this yourself, Brian, from playing golf and being out on the golf course. You see so many golfers that are trying to warm up, and somebody will say, "Hey, how you doing this morning?" "Oh, my back is killing me; it's so stiff." And they'll do this and that and the other. Should that give them an indication that they perhaps should maybe do a deep dive on what's really going on with their bones and their spine and their muscles and type thing?
Well, there's some typical wear and tear, and then there's some things that are stopping you from doing what you want to do. And so when I see golfers in my office, I know how golf is so important for me.
Right.
When they say that, "Hey, I haven't played golf in 2 years because of my left knee," then I say, "Well, this is an emergency. We have to figure out how to get you back." And one thing I'll add here is that there's a lot of things that are really, really reliable to help you get back to what you want to do. And I think no matter who does the procedure, I mean, like a knee replacement, for example, is a reliable operation. If it's done satisfactorily, it works. That being said, I mean, it's not a haircut. I mean, it's a big deal to go through a knee replacement operation. And I'm the kind of guy that I want my patients to go through this process and become. You shouldn't be miserable when you're going through this process. And so, me, my partner, and I, we work as hard as we can, more than average, to try and find the best ways to do this as pain-free as possible.
That's great, and I'm sure your patients appreciate that. Tell us what somebody needs to do, Doc, after, say, shoulder surgery, as far as rehab, to get back on the golf course, because I'm sure you're asked that a lot. Yeah, I need the surgery. I understand. I go through it. When the hell can I get back playing golf? What do they need to do as far as rehab? What time expectation should they be looking at?
So that's a good question. It obviously depends on the shoulder surgery. So if it's something where we can go in arthroscopically and clean up some inflammatory tissue, and we don't have to do any major ligament repairs or tendon repairs like in a rotator cuff surgery. If we just kind of help with inflammation, smooth a few things down, that's a relatively quick recovery. In that case, we're not waiting for tendons to heal back down to the bone or ligaments to repair back to the bone. In that kind of recovery, it's rapid. If your pain's controlled and you get your range of motion, it's kind of as you're able to do it, right back to your swing. If we do something like a rotator cuff tear repair, we need that. Your body needs that time for that tendon to scar back down to the bone.
Right.
Now we have implants that are great that hold that tendon there, and they will hold everything in place while you move it, but they won't hold it in place while you put extra stress on it. Right. So you have to let that heal. So my patients with a rotator cuff repair, I'll put them in a sling for a month. And then once we, it's a month to 6 weeks. Once we believe that tendon is now scarred back down and we're not dependent on the implants to hold it, then we let them start strengthening.
Right.
And then as soon as they're strong enough to swing a club, we start with half swings, then more. Once they get to that point, then everyone's different. So that can be a recovery from anywhere from 3 months to even 9 months, depending on how they heal, how bad the damage was, and how their pain is through their recovery.
Wow. Okay. I didn't.
So it's a big deal. Yeah.
It is a big deal, and I guess they could always do some putting on their carpet, inside the house while they're waiting. All right. We're gonna step away again, take another short break. We're gonna leave you with our game improvement tip of the week with Adam Bazalgette, who owns Scratch Golf Academy in Florida. Fantastic teacher, and a few commercial spots, and we'll be back with the doctor right after this.
Well, welcome. Adam Bazalgette here at the beautiful club at Mediterra in Naples, Florida, former David Ledbetter Golf Academy director and founder of Scratch Golf Academy. How close should you stand to the golf ball? It's an important subject because it dictates a lot of what will happen afterwards. Stay tuned. Okay, so how close should you stand to the ball? Let's get things in the proper order here, and if you do this, it'll really establish you for some consistency. Instead of some artificial measurement, this is the key. You've got to get dynamic posture, and then that will tell you, and I'll show you that in a second here, how far to stand from the ball. Now, we've got lots more at scratchgolfacademy.com about dynamic posture and the specifics of it. Certainly, if you subscribe to the channel, we'll get you free content coming along, and these things will be covered. Love to have you as a member, but let me give you a few basic thoughts. You want a nice dynamic spine bent forward from the hips so that you're in a good balanced and lively position. And my old boss, David Ledbetter, is big on this. He feels, and I trust him, that the hip joint, which is right about behind your pocket where the seam of your trousers is, should be just about over the ankle joint. That's a natural alignment for the human being. And that is a good reference. So you'll notice great golfers, they don't just stick the club on the ground and bend forward this way. They keep a pretty neutral relationship, arms to body, and they step into good posture. So here's the trick. Once you're in good posture, again, we've got lots more of that at our channel. Check it in the mirror. Once you're in there, it's easy because then all you've got is a gravitational hang of your arms. They should hang straight down underneath your shoulders. Driver might be just a tiny bit further out, but not much. So posture's the key, then gravity puts you in the right situation. Here's one little checkpoint that I think might help you though. If you're in good posture and it's sufficient and you let your arms hang, you will find as a general rule that if you take your backhand with just a short thumb, that'll just slide about in between the handle and the front of your trousers there. That's a general checkpoint. So it's posture first, dynamic, bent from the hips, gravitational hang. And whether that's a long club or a short club, your relationship to your hands and your balance points won't change. So I hope that helps you a little bit.
One of the buzzwords happening in golf is the word lag. You hear it all the time, but what is it, and how do I get it? Lag simply is the loading of the club to help produce tons of power in your golf swing. Up until now, getting lag into your swing has been very hard. Introducing the lag shot, a brand new proven training aid being praised by some of the leading PGA Tour instructors across the globe. This practice aid trains your hands, arms and body how to make a powerful, efficient golf swing with an amazing amount of lag. Lag shot is a 7-iron length club with the same loft and lie with a whippy, flexible blue shaft and a beautiful jet black club head. After you master the lag shot, your game will change forever with a stress-free swing, more power and more distance with lower scores every time you play. Go to lagshotgolf.com and you'll see why this truly is becoming the #1 training aid in golf. Visit lagshotgolf.com. As golfers, we want instant gratification when it comes to a better golf swing and playing better golf. Impossible, you say? Not anymore. Golf Boost Artificial Intelligence, AI, has developed and patented the most advanced swing analysis technology in golf. Simply, the algorithms detect your body position and then analyze your golf swing using their artificial intelligence technology. The AI captures all the relevant data from your swing video and then presents you a personalized lesson. Golf Boost AI is the ultimate swing analysis and virtual instruction system for golfers of all ages and abilities. This sophisticated software takes into consideration your height and build, playing level, and returns the ideal solution for your swing. Bottom line, Golf Boost AI is an incredibly convenient and cost-effective tool for golfers to improve their swing. Go to golfboost.com and check it out. The app is free to download and try. Visit golfboost.com today.
All right, we are back, everybody, with Dr. Brian Carr, who is our special guest. I'm your host, Dennis Silvers, having a great conversation about orthopedic surgery and about how that relates to golfers. Very common problem with a lot of golfers as far as the shoulders, the back, the hips, and so on and so forth. I know, Doc, that you're not a personal trainer, but what's your advice to people, to golfers specifically, when they get out to the golf course, even before, and they want to warm up? I mean, typically they'll do the stretching and, this type of thing, but what would be your advice to them?
I think that's the main idea. As we get older, things kind of start stiffening up, and so it's beneficial to kind of warm up, do the stretching, do some practice swings, do some half swings, start with your short clubs. Or even some chips with practice balls, and just work your way up. You just don't want to. A lot of what we see is overuse injury, and it as we get older and we're stiffer, it takes less to get an overuse injury.
Right.
And so that's one of the reasons why I'm so adamant about pace of play. If you play a hole and then you're sitting in your golf cart waiting for another 15 minutes before
Right.
you hit again, you got to stay loose. And
Exactly.
So pace
That's a
of
great
play
point.
when it slows down causes injury.
That's a great
good.
point. Yeah, that's a very very good point. What do you feel about? And I know people that do this a lot, and I have played golf with them. People that have stiff backs or stiff shoulders, stiff neck, whatever, that are taking muscle relaxers when they go out to play. Good advice or not good advice?
It depends on the patient. So I'm not opposed to it in somebody with, muscle spasms, but that's something that you want to do kind of not indefinitely. You want to do it. You want to go through a treatment course with something like those kind of medications.
Right.
And so that you're not on them. Some of the muscle relaxers, for example, you can develop even tolerance or dependency on, and so you don't want to be on that all the time. And so really anything and everything that they can do to stay flexible and strong.
Yeah, I see why people do that, but on the other hand, you got to get to the root cause of something, don't you? When they come to see you, you just can't mask it.
Yeah, if
You can't live on that your whole life.
Yeah, we do a lot of that in medicine. As long as you're like, if it's arthritis and it's something that you can deal with your symptoms with, flexibility and strength training and occasional, anti-inflammatories
Right.
or pain relievers, that's one thing. And if it's occasional, but if you find that every time you go out you're on anti-inflammatories, or every time you go out you're needing muscle relaxants, or and it's just not improving, then I exactly see, treat the root cause.
Yeah, then they got to go see you.
somebody.
Then they got to go see you. Two things. Number one, how much golf did you play when you were in the service? And secondly, tell us a little bit about your partner.
So I played a lot growing up, but once I started the pre-medical track in college, my time was committed to that.
Right.
And when I was in the Army, I played here and there, but the medical practice is pretty busy. You're in clinic or surgery 5 to 6 days a week and on call, and that plus a family doesn't
Yeah.
have much
Yeah.
time for golf. And now out of the service, I have a little bit more control over my time. And right now we're building a new orthopedic location in Vegas, so I have a little bit more time before we really get busy, and so we play a little bit more. My partner in practice, Dr. Michael Manning, he has an office in St. George, Utah, a couple hours from here.
Beautiful area.
Gorgeous. And we met in St. George, Utah. I lived there at the time, and I was working in Mesquite.
Okay.
A great hospital, great patients, but it's a small population. And I found that after just a few months there, I caught up to the workload. And I was just kind of, and I was employed, and I was just kind of sitting around the office waiting for somebody to fall down the stairs. And so I asked them, hey, can I pick up some extra work, or I'll take a pay cut. I need to do some more work. I have more to offer. And they said, you're 100% here or not at all. And I said, all right, well, I guess consider this my notice. So I asked around in St. George, and there's a lot of orthopedic surgeons in St. George that are all kind of competing for the patient population there, and so I could see the hospital from my house, but I wasn't allowed to even work at the hospital. I just couldn't get a packet, and so I met Dr. Manning through my wife took one of our kids to the doctor, and that doctor was a friend, and said, hey, does your husband work here in St. George? I was like, no, they won't let him work. And he said, it happened to my friend. So I called him, and I said, hey, Dr. Manning, Brian Carr. And he says, hey, nice to meet you. I said, we have something in common. And he said, what's that? And I said, nobody wants us to work in St. George. So we kind of connected then, and we've worked kind of peripherally together over the past several years. He's an amazing surgeon. If you need like the most complex of complex,
Really?
he's the guy probably in the Southwest to do it. And so we've worked together, peripherally for years, and then it was just the last couple of months that we were able to join forces. And really,
Oh, that's great.
really
I'm looking forward to a bit. Does he play golf?
He does not.
Okay.
He has played, and I'll get him out there. He's a mountain biker, so he's taken me out a handful of times on the mountain bike just to destroy me.
That's also very good. No, we're looking forward to meeting him, and like you say, to have him on the show. People that are looking at this that have interests that go, God, I need to go see Dr. Carr. I've got this. What's the best way to get in touch with you?
Probably the best way off of this podcast is to visit a Facebook page that we're developing, and then leave comments, like it. We'll be able to follow that and track that. There at that landing page, so to speak, we'll be able to connect you with my clinic, and then we'll whoever we can treat, we'll treat. I'm interested in.
Come on in.
I'm interested in taking care of everyone that I can take care of. And one important thing that people should know is that we want to take care of everyone. But a lot of who we see is dependent on which insurance companies we're contracted with. So I have someone that we pay full time for the last 4 months to just generate, applications and credentialing and contracts with insurance companies. Right. And then it's up to the insurance companies to decide whether or not they will allow their patients to come see me.
Yeah.
We work on that all the time. And we do whatever we can to assist that process. But really, if you are able to connect with us through our website at the practice, we'll have the insurances that we're allowed to take care of. And then if your insurance isn't on that list, call your insurance company, say, hey, how can I see Dr. Carr?
Exactly.
And I find, the client, the patient themselves have a lot more wherewithal in making that happen than we do. We have to
or you demand and you tell the insurance company, I want Dr. Carr in your provider list. I'm sorry. Make it happen.
I think it helps. We'll see. We have to follow the policies, procedures, and all that. But at some point we'll be contracted with, I imagine, the majority of the insurances. And if all else fails, we do have the lowest cash prices in the area for sure.
That's very good to know. Very good to know. All right, I promised a big announcement. We're going to step away, take another short break. When we come back, we're going to make that announcement, and we're going to complete the show with Dr. Carr. So we're going to be right back. Stay with us. When it comes to golf, I'm a man of few words, as you'll see. Looking for out-of-this-world technology in your golf ball? Encore Golf. Looking for exceptional performance and durability? Encore Golf. Looking for the best performing ball for the price? Encore Golf. Check them out at Encore Golf. That's ONCORE golf.com. Your scores will thank you.
Innovation begins at a single point. Elements, each with their unique character. Fire-forged steel creates unprecedented control. Chemistry delivers a touch so soft, combined to create a level of performance previously unimagined. Like magic, the Elixir, the new tour ball from Encore.
All right, I promise we're going to make a big announcement before we finished off the show. And this obviously is concerning with Dr. Carr, and I just want to mention, and he's very excited about it, I'm very excited about it, that Dr. Carr is going to start very, very soon. He's going to get promos out pretty soon, his own podcast, and that's going to be known as In Studio with Dr. Carr. And I know you're excited about it.
Yes, sir. Yeah, this came about. Well, we met and started talking about this, but in the past several years, I'm always trying to find the best way to get the information that our patients need,
Right.
So that they can have a better experience. And the biggest factor, I think, is communication with the patient. So if they're having trouble, I need to know about it. If there's things to expect, they need to know about it. So, for example, when somebody's going to have like a knee replacement or a hip replacement, we go over a detailed packets as what to expect, what to do when this happens, what to do when that happens. But we found pretty early that even though we give them a copy of it, we know they hear it, but then if there's issues after surgery, a lot of them are really addressed in that packet. So it wasn't sinking in. And
Right.
so we started doing a live kind of informal discussion. It's mandatory in my practice now, where the patients, before their surgery, they come with a group of patients, and I'll spend an hour and a half in an informal discussion going over that same information, and then the patients participate in that. Invariably, there's someone in that class that's already had a joint replacement done by myself or my partner, and they are a wealth of information. They've been through it. They can
Yeah.
tell the patients,
Been there, done that.
This is what's going to happen. This is why you need to listen to this part, and they help each other. If we don't have someone in the class that we've already operated on, then we'll have one of my past patients. My past patients routinely ask me, "Hey, can I teach the joint class?" And I said, "Absolutely."
Yeah,
So we had a gentleman a couple of months ago. We did his right knee, a few months ago, and then he was 7 days post-op from his left knee. And he kind of walked into, and I said, "Hey, let me introduce you to my patient from 7 days ago." And he walked in kind of carrying his walker, and he sat down, and he said, "Let me tell you why you got to listen to Dr. Carr." And it was great. And he talked for about 20 minutes, and he says, "Does that about cover it, Doc?" And I said, "Yeah,
Perfect.
thank you."
Yeah.
He
That's
did
great.
it for me. So we're always trying to get more information out so the patients can do better.
Yeah, no, that's a great mission, and I know a lot of people get confused. They want things simple. they go by the KISS rule like I do. Keep it simple, stupid. And especially when it comes to surgery, you want to know what's going on and everything. I think that's great. So the show then is going to talk about various aspects of the type of areas that you do orthopedic surgery on, whether it be, the shoulders, the hip, the knees, or whatever, and taking perhaps phone calls or emails or text messages with concerns or questions that people have that might be candidates for surgery.
Yeah,
and I think that's great.
Yeah, yes, sir. And I think there are so many aspects to talk about, and the important thing for me anyway in this podcast is that it's informal. Because I think you can get a lot more information. It makes sense to more people. If it's presented in an informal way, and I think it'll just be better for them. There's so many things that are coming out that people don't even know about it. Like for example, something that we've added to our practice a few years ago is a knee replacement's a painful operation. No matter how you do it, it's a great operation. It works, but that first month can be tough. There's a technology now where we can preoperatively freeze the nerves around the knee, and that covers most of the knee pain.
That's sensational.
And it lasts for 3-4 months.
That's sensational.
Since we've started that procedure, actually the hospitals asked me. They said, "What are you doing with these patients? They're just getting up and going. Nobody believes they had a total knee." And for example, and I've had in the past several years, I've probably had 30 patients after a total knee not require a single narcotic pain pill.
Wow.
And that's
phenomenal.
That's not because I'm special. It's not because I did a better operation. I did a satisfactory operation, but we look at every aspect. We time the anti-inflammatories correctly. We do the preoperative cryoneuralization, it's called. We have good communication, so we know how to preempt all those issues that we expect and come up with. And the product's getting better, and so that's the best. That's the biggest advent in medicine that I've seen in my career, and so we believe in it. It's better for patients, and so we do it.
Absolutely, that's a great mission statement too. All right, you're going to be hearing a lot more about Dr. Carr. He's going to put out some promos as to when the show is going to get started. Be on the lookout for that. It's going to be informative, informational, and he's going to have some live guests on every now and then to talk about things involved in his world, and it's just going to be super. So, Doc, thanks for coming in.
And thanks for having me.
We need to, I think, pick up this conversation out in the golf course pretty soon.
It sounds good to me.
Yeah. All right. We're going to wrap it up for the 19th hole podcast for golfers. I've been your host, Dennis Silvers, and on behalf of Dr. Carr, I want to thank you for staying with us. So remember, get out and play some golf, keep it in the short stuff, and we'll see you back same time, same place next week. So long, everybody.